Hello guys, welcome back to another video, and today we are going to be doing a USA versus China. Now this was supposed to come out on Saturday because on my Discord server I post and do a poll for what video you guys would like to see next, and so make sure to join that. It's in the description below. And it was supposed to come out on Saturday, but I've just been so busy. I've been recording stuff. It's just been so busy. So I'm sorry that it has to be on a Monday. But I didn't have enough time on the Saturday. So let's get right to it. So tensions have been rising between the two countries. And this leads China to declare war on the USA. China has North Korea on their side, and South Korea joins the war, just so they know, because North Korea might invade them. North Korea has their armies already on the borders and starts pushing through. Now, if I sound a bit weird, I have bad hay fever at the moment, but hopefully it goes away soon. And also, if you guys haven't been aware, but the Afghan capital has been... I put this out on my Discord, and the announcement's breaking. Afghan capital has been seized by the Taliban. So, yeah. Anyway, North Korea continues to push into South Korea as its armies fall. Chinese army is also there, and North Korea completely falls. With North Korea out of the game, Japan decides to join. Now, with Japan joining, this also leads to Taiwan to join the war. Now, Taiwan wants to join the war in hopes to gain land and also to get their independence from China. With Japan joining, this also leads to some NATO members to join. The US is close to including the US, including UK, Ireland. Gotta call that in. Oh my god, does this border thing not work on these? I just really like the country. I don't really care, just call it Ireland. And Canada all join the war on their side. Now, India was also joined, but China thinks that it needs some more allies. So China decides to call in Pakistan, Iran, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, and these join the war, including Russia and Mongolia also join the war. Now, the only other blue side ally I'm going to add is France, since they're quite close to the US. So, yeah. So in this, it's not going to turn into a world war scenario. The UK, Australia, New Zealand, I don't think I'm going to get them involved, actually. Right, I guess the UK would probably call them in, since they're former colonies. So, and then I think Bangladesh would join, and Nepal and Bhutan stay neutral. Afghanistan and Turkmenistan, I think, also should join due to the Afghan capital falling. This is around this time. It's also lead Turkey to join the war, along with Iraq and Syria. This is the war at the moment. Japan is heavily bombed, and eventually Russia heavily bombs, dropping hydrogen bombs, and the Japanese naval ships are gone. This makes Japan then surrender over without even being touched by an invasion. Just choose that. Okay. Let's just keep it like that. That's better. Taiwan is completely invaded by China. Now, Pakistan and Iran, I think, would work together to take out Turkmenistan and Afghanistan. And that is exactly what they do. Even Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan, and Kazakhstan all help out to take out Afghanistan and Turkmenistan. They start pushing in, taking parts of Turkmenistan. At this time, the Afghan president has been basically taken to Turkmenistan. Notice Afghanistan has joined the red side as they're under new leaders. Turkmenistan then falls and decides to join the red side. This is terrible news for the Allies, as they've barely got any allies left. Saudi Arabia, Jordan, and Israel, I think, all should join. And the US starts to send out naval ships. With the US's naval ships, they capture this Japanese island here and start moving up. They land on the coast of North Korea and start moving westward. With them landing on the coast, they also make another tiny landing to knock off basically the troops as they move in and swoop through South Korea. With the North Korean and Chinese armies getting pushed back, the Russians then start to bomb South Korea. South Korea then completely falls and the Allies start to push into North Korea. They do well, but are stopped at the borders there, and the South Korean armies and the North Korean and Chinese armies, along with the Mongolian armies, get ready to reinvade. About after a month of the stalemate, they have 1 million troops each ready, and they start to push back the Allied advance. Push back the Allied advance all the way into South Korea. And the US troops start to think to evacuate, but they don't do long. The US troops make a small little break point in the side of the North Korean armies and start to push them back. Push them back all the way to the border and just into a little bit of North Korea. So this is our map at the moment. Turkey then starts to move into Syria, taking out Syria's best armies. They completely take over Lebanon, and Israel and Palestine are both liberated. Syria falls as Iraq falls. This cannot go out good for Iran. The Indian armies want to push the Pakistani armies back. They pushed them back quite far and stationed the borders here. With the Afghan capital, they start to push to retake Afghanistan. With them pushing, they have to go a separate way as there are more troops unloading fire on them as they're walking. This was the deadliest battle, and eventually they crossed the border into Afghanistan and head back for the capital. While this is happening, the Pakistani troops decides to put the Indian troops off guard and make a small invasion into sort of northern India. Chinese armies also crossed the borders and pushed back the Indian armies. They also pushed through parts of India, bombing parts and taking parts of India. As they're liberating parts of the country, they then went to Bangladesh. They could quickly take Bangladesh to have an advantage and a launch pad of an invasion of India. Japan can set up a front line that looks like this. So they have defences along their borders and continue pushing down. Eventually, then pushing down, the entire Bangladesh is conquered. They pushed back and eventually Bangladesh falls. Is that this part of India is then re-invaded. But the Indian armies aren't focusing much on their homeland. As soon as they break the Afghan capital, they know they could cause chaos. They move steadily up to the capital. Now, I'm not really sure where the capital is on this map, so I'm just going to pick a random spot. They push steadily towards the capital, and eventually they seize it. With the capital being seized, Turkish, French, British, Canadian, Irish, Australian and New Zealand troops, along with some evacuated Japanese troops, all make a landing in the bottom of Pakistan. To make smooth landings, they start pushing forwards. At this point, India are gonna have to start focusing on their mainland as they're getting pushed back a little bit further into their homeland. The Indian defence armies aren't doing very well in holding back the advance. A new advance is made near Bangladesh as they start to push back the Indian armies. They get pushed back by the Indian army to grab a strong force, but that strong force does not last a while as it is completely obliterated by Russian artillery strikes. And then move in for the kill and eventually start taking massive chunks of India. With a massive chunk of India now taken out, Chinese and Russian troops set their sights on retaking parts of Afghanistan. But in Afghanistan and Pakistan, things are looking quite good for the blue side as they are starting to seize power. But this is a very slow war, as in Afghanistan, they start moving steadily across the country, taking little parts as the what's it called? The new occupiers, can't remember their name, are fighting steadily. They push through a little bit of Afghanistan, this is left. US and UK troops make it quite far before starting to push into Iran. Pakistan is nearly liberated. The Indian armies then think that they could start the push. They make a tiny little advancement in China, but are stopped in their ways. And eventually kick the Pakistani and Chinese troops out of the country. Pakistan is then forced to surrender as the new Afghan leaders start to basically collapse. The government is on the verge of break, and from Turkmenistan, the old prime minister or president of Afghanistan flees Turkmenistan to go live back in Afghanistan and take control. They continue to push back the advance, and then they even push a little bit into the country. This is Kyrgyzstan here, or Uzbekistan. I think that's Uzbekistan. That's like Kyrgyzstan. Eventually, completely take Kyrgyzstan away. Completely take Kyrgyzstan, or it's Kyrgyzstan, yeah, it's Kyrgyzstan. So they start to push into Turkmenistan. The Turkmenistan armies are getting freed and are starting to help out the Allies. They cut them off from parts of the country and just liberate, go in and move into the kill. This is the major game. These are the Allied advanced fronts. Now they're pushing back loads of the troops. Then the Indian armies make the purge to liberate more parts of the country, as the US then draws away and retakes mainland Japan. Thus retaking Japan completely, can now set their sights on basically moving up the Chinese border. They begin to start movement, pushing back as they were getting ready for this fight, but the North Koreans just kept attacking. Eventually, they push into China from all sides. Eventually, go back and retake Taiwan and keep pushing into North Korea. The Chinese armies, though, hold really steady at the North Korean borders with Russian and North Korean troops still there. But this is the steady point. This is the hard point of the war, where the Allies have to make a really important decision. How do they advance through the war and retake most of Asia? So first to take out Afghanistan and retake it. They make little pushes after little pushes just to get in. They keep pushing and get slung back to where they used to be. But they keep pushing, trying very, very hard, using all they can. But they decide not to use all they can and slow down a little bit. Eventually, Iran and the new Afghanistan occupiers are then evacuated to Iran. Afghanistan is now put back in place by the Afghans, and the people celebrate throughout the country. But the US President Joe Biden and the UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson then warn that this is not the end of the war just yet. They then want to push into Uzbekistan more. They make a little advance, pushing back the Uzbekistan armies. They make a tiny dent here. Taking this, Uzbekistan falls. Turkmenistan also falls and is completely reunited. Iran then starts to get closed in. The Russians, on the other hand, also getting pushed back a little bit from the war. Russians do not surrender. Iran surrenders along with Kazakhstan and the basically Bangladeshi armies. The US continues its push and tried to liberate China. As China being the mainland, we get in this war, this might have been like a World War III, but there would have been way more participants than World War III. Way more participants. But it isn't. I've got to get other countries involved because it's more like allies, like what I think would happen. As I stop the push into China, and as Russia continues to get pushed into China, Russia and Mongolia all decide to surrender. So, that is what happened. Now, I can't draw up the borders because the border tool doesn't work. I'm going to try and get it fixed. But, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. A like would be appreciated. And make sure to subscribe to the channel. And also join my Discord down below. Thanks. See you guys. Bye.